Hey, what's up, everyone? We are back.
Happy Friday.
Yeah, best day of the week. We are. Sorry, someone outside. We are live. We've got a very special guest with us tonight. We have Lindiloos, Psychic Medium.
Thank you. Make me blush.
So tonight we've had a few psychic mediums on. We've had obviously Kerry on before, and we've had Indigo. But Linda, I have been following on Instagram and that for a while now. I can't remember.
Maybe you can tell a few months now.
Yeah, a good few months, and I've been watching obviously what you've been doing and stuff. And you're also a paranormal investigator as well, aren't you? So it's not just the psychic side of things.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little bit of everything.
Yeah, great.
Paranormal, the mediumship, the spiritual side. Yeah, there's a few things in there.
Yeah. So obviously, guys watching, please obviously share this out to everybody. The more people we have in, the better. It makes it a hell of a show, makes it a bit of a party. And also, if you've got any questions for, like, obviously Linda or any of us, Hefty is a massive horror fan. If you've got questions about horror movies, anything, he's your guy. Marty is huge into his UFOs and ancient mystery stuff and all that, so definitely hit him up if you're asking him for stuff. And Nick, obviously, ask him anything. He knows everything.
Yeah, just ask him anything. You can ask Nick anything. That guy's got an answer for you. I love that guy.
Or just ask him to change his background and go change his background. How you doing, Scaredy Cat? Thank you for joining us, buddy. So Linda, obviously we spoke a little bit last night, but for the guys obviously that don't know, where did all this start for you, like having this psychic like ability, and when you started to learn that you could see and hear things as such?
It started going back when I was about 6 years old, because I lost my sister. She was only 2 years older than me, so she was only 8, God bless her, when she passed away. She had a lot of things going on with her at the time. And after she passed away, I could always remember the memory of my mum sitting us on her knee and asking, like explaining to us that my sister had passed away and she'd gone to heaven to be with the angels. And my only reply was, so does that mean that everything that was Kelly's is mine? Obviously, he was just an innocent little 6-year-old at the time. My mum remembers that by heart. And I actually do remember it. So I did move into Kelly's room because I had 2 younger brothers who I used to share with. But everything that was belonging to my sister, my mum and dad built a little cupboard in their room and put everything in. So everything in my room would literally belong to me. But there was one shelf that had stuff on there belonging to her. And it wasn't long after she passed away, and I remember there was a big crash one night, and my mum and dad actually thought somebody had broke in. And so obviously my dad ran down the stairs and there was no sign of anything, and I put my bedroom light on. Now her shelf was like literally from like on one side of the room and my bed was on the other, but I had a shelf above my bed, and everything off my shelf had been wiped off and everything off her shelf had been wiped off. So it was all lying on the floor. So it was strange. Like my dad even shook the shelves, and there was like no explanation why everything had fallen down off these 2 shelves. And as time went on, it was more around that I remember more around about the age of 11 when things started to happen a little bit more. And it was my dad. I remember my dad had says that we were around at a friend's house one night, and my dad had says, look, something strange happened when you were out, and the only way he could explain it was like the sound of a marble being dropped. And he said it like it just dropped as if it sounded as if he had dropped like 3 times off the bench in like inside the kitchen. And he had says, look, Kelly, if that's you, do the same time tomorrow night, which would be 8 o'clock, and I know it's you. So 8 o'clock the next night we sat and we listened. My dad turned everything off at 8 o'clock, and once again the sound of marble drop
Oh,
3
wow.
times. Went in the kitchen. There was no marbles. We had no marbles, but that was the sound of it. And like my dad just like, no, he was like, thank you, Kelly. And then it wasn't long after that, when that had actually happened, is when my dad had seen a vision of my sister in the house. It was actually, that was 2 years after she passed away. He seen her because I was in hospital. I was 8 years old. But as like say, time went on, and I was about 11, and I had a friend. So I've got a friend who even witnessed this, and we were sitting on the bed, and I had one trainer sitting up. Now, the other trainer had been lying on its side for a while. We hadn't been moving around, and the trainer started rocking, like literally started rocking until it stood up straight. And I remember we just looked at each other, and I was like, okay, Kelly, if that was you, thank you, for putting my shoes the right way. And it was literally from seeing that trainer moving, things started to move around the bedroom a lot more. And I always felt something at the side of my eye. Like I always seen things at the corner of my eye, especially around the bedroom door. And when I look, it wouldn't be a case I've looked and it's moved. It would be a case when I looked, then I seen the shadow move. Now everybody assumes that if you see a black shadow, that it's something negative, and it's not. It's a spirit can show itself in any colour, in any form. And I strongly believed, obviously, that was my sister she was there watching, keeping an eye on us, making sure I wasn't up to no good. And then obviously, pardon?
Making sure you weren't messy.
Yeah, making sure I wasn't messy. That's what it sounded like. So it wasn't more. I didn't seem to look at things as much as I got through my teenage years until I was about 19, and that's when things started happening more. It was more that I started hearing things, and obviously I went through a bit of a bad patch, and I had moved over to Ireland for a bit. And I remember, like, as you do, you go in the bathroom, sit down on the toilet, and I was just like, oh gosh, no, I wish everything was okay, everything was going to be okay. And my dad and my brothers were downstairs, obviously with my 2 children at the time, and I heard a voice say, don't worry, everything's going to be okay. But it was in an Irish accent, and I was thinking, who's my dad in the house? And I got up off the toilet quickly, and I looked, and there was nobody there. And I went down the stairs. I was like, who's been upstairs? And nobody had been upstairs. And I was like, that answered as soon as I had asked. I just hope everything's going to be okay. And just that voice, and it was so loud and so clear, and it sounded like it was on the other side of the door. And then that's when things just sort of started to like progress, but I didn't do nothing with it until it was literally 5 years ago when I lost my dad, and that's when I started looking into things more. So that's why I say not everybody is born with it for it to be there for the whole life. That's how people can grow. And it's like the more you open up to the spirit world, the more you receive. Like Tom and Amy, like you've seen like lately over these past few months, how more in tune you've become, like to like the dolls and things that you've been getting, and how much more you're picking up on, and you're even feeling it yourself. And that's like what happened with me. That is, the more I opened up, the more things started to happen until it got to the point when I started seeing spirit a bit more clearly and hearing them a bit more clearly. Yeah.
So you say then that obviously you're more like the clairaudience, the more hearing things, and is that more your side of things, would you say?
The hearing, seeing, feeling, smelling, and also taste as well. The taste is a funny one. That's it. It's like if you smell something, I don't know if anybody else can do that. If you smell a cup of tea, you know what it tastes like, because obviously you've had one before. And it's the same. Like it could be like even like a perfumey. Like even though you're smelling it, you can taste it as well at the same time. And that's what it's like. Yeah.
Wow.
So it comes and goes.
Yeah.
So we've got that smelling sometimes from the doll.
Yeah, so we get that from
Josephine.
Josephine. She gives off a scent of damp clothes, and
you can smell it like now.
I didn't really think that. I've never smelt like spirit, like that kind of thing, until we got her, and then we had her in the house. We lit a candle for her to invite her into the house, and then literally was like an hour later.
Yeah.
I go in our living room, and I have never smelt damp in this house. It's a brand new house. We had the wet clothes up. Like it was a dry warm day, and then like I walk in there, and there's just a smell of damp clothes just hit like a ton of bricks. Like, where did that come from? And it's so strong, you could smell it. It wasn't like a whiff, you could smell it. And then it almost like moved around the room. You could like walk out of it and walk back into that area where. And
see, now if that was the doll itself, you would have smelt that as soon as you opened it.
Exactly.
I smelled the doll. What does it sound? I just smelled the doll. It doesn't
smell it. Yeah.
Nick, have you had any of this? I know you do a lot of investigating. Have you had like any experiences like that where you've actually smelled like that spirit kind of scent? Don't know how to just put it otherwise.
Actually, it's only happened to me twice. So yes, the first time it happened to me was, and I know I've spoken about this story previously. This goes back to my very first online investigation at Waverly. We were near the, as I recall, the morgue area, and well, actually no, this was before we entered the morgue. We were we happened to be walking down the hallway, and up until you get to the morgue, most of the rooms are pretty much the same. There's really no difference to them for the most part. But as we're walking over, getting closer to that area unexpectedly, we started smelling this just this horrific smell that I could still remember it even over a decade later.
Jeez.
It was like
a death smell.
It was a very strong smell. How can I describe it to you guys? Type of smell that, it smelled like death. I actually at one point when I went there, I at one point described it smelled like that of a dry corpse. So it only lasted for about a minute or so, but the time it was there, it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
We've had that before somewhere. Smell.
See, that was one of my big things. Like, that's how it sort of started after I lost my dad. 'Cause I know I had went to see my nana when she passed away, nearly 14 years ago. And there was so much going on. I went to see her, and it was in her own house, and it just smelled like her, really. But literally just before my dad passed away, I picked up the smell in the room, and I had never really smelled death before, and I just thought that doesn't smell right. And I knew that as soon as he passed away, the smell was there and it was strong. And then we had my dad for about 2.5 weeks before we actually got to bury him, and we seen him every day for the full time. So I know the smell. We were getting used to that smell every time we were going in and out of the hospital and things. And then the morning of his funeral, I was in the house, in my own house, and I got the smell so strong. But my brother got it as well in his house. And
that's unusual, yeah.
It was I kept on getting it every now and again for a couple of weeks after my dad had passed away. And then I was standing in the little corner shop, and it scared us that though, because I was standing behind an elderly woman, and I got the smell, and I didn't know the lady, so I could never found out if she did pass away or not. And I got the smell, and I just thought, oh please Jesus, don't say that this lady's going to pass. But I couldn't say nothing, and she was with another lady, I'm assuming was her daughter. But that smell was just so strong coming from her. And I don't know to this day if she did actually pass away or not. And I would say she was probably in her late 70s, early 80s, this lady. But I just remember standing behind her, and that smell was just so strong. And I couldn't get out the shop quick enough. And that is when, like, I went through a bit of a bad patch of depression.
Oh.
And then it was coming across the spiritual side that sort of pulled us back out of all that and sort of give us like a shake to look, wake up, you're here. You can actually help other people with these abilities if you actually work on them. And that's what I've done.
Well, that's good. Like, yeah, I mean, but I don't blame it. I mean, that, I suppose if you smell that and like you say you think that person could pass away, what would you do? It's like,
yeah, it's like almost an olfactory precognition. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's like, do you say something and then put that idea in their mind and then maybe feel guilty if they pass away? It's hard. Marty, have you had that? Because obviously you've done some investigating yourself. Have you ever had this smell thing, or have you ever been somewhere where there's like a strange smell that's come across?
Oh yeah, Marty smells.
I've never smelled anything. The only story that my mother actually, after her grandmother passed away, she was, I think she was standing outside the house or whatever. She smelled funeral flowers, and she said, "Graham, if that's you, I don't want to see you the way that I just saw you," because they just came from the wake and the funeral. And as soon as she said that, that smell went away. So that's the only thing that I've really heard. I've never experienced anything on my own. That always stuck with me.
It's weird. I think like smell is quite a common one, but I think a lot of people like misjudge it. They just think it's just a smell in the atmosphere. They don't really register that it's a
the sign.
Right.
And because why would you? I mean, like especially if you're just getting into the paranormal and stuff. And I think that it brings nicely on to like we were saying, obviously along the bottom there, that I think this psychic ability, like you were saying last night, Linda, that it's in everyone, and it's just dependent on how much you want to sense it and how much you do it, how long you do it for. Because like you say, like with us and stuff, when even when we started doing our channel back in October, and we actually started filming stuff, I was still like erring on the fence of whether like is this stuff real or not, and like I was like, I don't know, and but like you say, the more we do it and the more we're getting into it, it's almost like going down that rabbit hole of you can't stop, and it just keeps building, and
you want to find out more and more,
and you start sensing more and hearing.
That's when it becomes dangerous as well, though, because you open yourself up too much to it.
I mean, even like the other night, I've said like on past shows and everything, I'm no psychic or medium by any means. Like I have no idea, but we had guinea pigs before, as daft as it sounds, like, and they died, and that one of them was buried out in our garden here. And I swear, we're watching telly, and I heard it like squeak. I heard a guinea pig. Yeah, like that. Yeah, I heard that in our house.
Jeff's got guinea pigs, so I know.
Oh my God.
I heard it, and I was like, "What?" Like, I said to you, "We got a guinea pig or something." Have you not telling me something?
But I swear as well. I heard my grandma, and she'd only just passed away, and then I was feeding the dogs, and there was a tiny bit of meat left in the can. So I thought, I'll just give it to the dog anyway. And I swear I heard my grandma say, "That's too much."
Yeah.
And I was like,
weird, isn't it? Like you pick up on these
no way
abilities.
did I just hear that, and it sounded a spitting image of how, and that's how her demeanor as well. It's what she would normally say, because she loved to run dogs and that, and she was very like religious on like how much food and that they should have. And if she saw me do that, she would have gone, "That's too much, Amy. Like, calm down. Like, he's going to end up."
It's weird, isn't it? Before we carry on, guys, we are reading your comments. If you see us like smiling and laughing, it's not about like what we're talking about. We are reading your comments. It's hilarious.
Does Linda, you know you can see the comments, right?
No, that's what I'm just looking at, where the comments.
So on the right hand side where it says comments, just click on it. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. We're like, if we like you're not laughing at you,
No,
we're laughing at them. So guys, even if we don't put it on the screen, we are reading everything you put. It's hilarious. But yeah, so like this ability of being a psychic is, like I say, it's in everybody. It's just whether you tune into it or not. And I did some research earlier on like psychic abilities, and I can't actually believe how many there is.
And I actually worked out what one I am.
Oh, freaking heck, Nick. That one on the right, on your left, the white one, That's literally what it looked like, but grey.
It was grey, yeah, it was grey.
Imagine that, but grey, and that was the one.
I worked out which one I've actually got, and it's the how do you say it? Help me out.
By object by touch, that one.
Yeah, that one.
Oh Jesus. Psychometry.
Psychometry.
Yes. So psychometry is the ability to obtain information about a person or an object by touch.
Yeah.
Now these are a side of obviously the different clairs. You've got clairvoyance, clairaudience, and all that. These are actual different abilities that these psychics can do. They range from all sorts, like apportation, which is the ability to undergo materialization, disappearance, or teleportation
Of an object.
Energy medicine. What else we got here?
Psychic surgery.
Psychic surgery, the ability to remove disease or disorder within or over the body tissue via an energetic incision that heals immediately. Now,
Not a wizard.
Now that I was going to do some more research about for another show, but I've actually seen that actually has happened before. There's been documented people that have had this psychic surgery and actually been healed and cured of like incurable diseases and illnesses. But it's crazy, like some of the stuff. I mean, what else we got here? Remote viewing, the ability to see a distant or unseen target, using extrasensory perception. And I mean, is this all in everybody, or do you think that it's more like people are more tuned to one thing than the other? If that makes sense. I'm just rambling now.
I think it depends on how hard you work on that ability, though. How far you push it.
You think?
That's it. I think it all depends how open you actually are, because you can open yourself up so much, but to me, it all depends what's going on around you, like your daily life, your own like home situations. Like at the time when I started, even though I obviously have my children to look after, I wasn't working at the time, and it felt as if I had that bit of time at home to look into things a bit more. And that's where like I was able to open myself up. They say like you only use like a tiny part of your brain. And it's like when you're a child, when a baby's born, it knows nothing. There's no religion in there. There is nothing in there until you've actually jumped it into a child's head. No, oh, this is the color orange. This is the color green. No, this is the number one. And that's why children are so open to seeing spirit, because their mind's not boggled with so much stuff.
Right.
To what it is as you start growing older. Then that part of the mind, what you don't use, like it is as a child, which was all spacious and full of, obviously, like that ability to see spirit, it just seems to start getting closed off. And that's why I say like meditation is really good, because you start to train your mind again to basically focus only on the things you need to focus on, and all the worries and things. That's why mediums and psychics will say to you, put all your worries to one side. Don't think of it. Just picture as if you've got little compartments in your mind, and go, right, okay, that's the tray for worries, that's a tray for this and that. And that's like I say, that's why they say meditation is so good, because you do start to train your mind. It's the same as if you're going to go to work, you start a new job, you've got to be up at 5 o'clock in the morning. You set your alarm so you're going to be up at 5 o'clock in the morning. But in time, you start training your body and your mind. You know, you'll start waking up. You'll probably find out on a weekend, even though you're not at work, you'll wake up at the same time, because you've trained your body and mind to sit in that kind of form. And it's sort of the same way for doing meditation, because you're learning to put things aside. And it's just the same way, like when you think, going back to before you started getting the dolls, you never thought of anything like that. Now you've got the dolls. Now you're opening your mind to these things that's going on. You're listening to the sounds. You're looking for the smells, and the noises. It is hard sometimes to explain, but it is quite simple. But it's like I say, you've got to you've got to work on giving your mind that bit of space for you to be able to, how to put it, it's like you need to block out some of the things that your mind doesn't need, basically, to give way to that bit of space, so you're opening up more to the spirit world.
I think, and Rob has a good point on that as well, like, because he says
that's not true. Don't lie about him.
Rob put this on here as well. He says, I wonder how much this video might be beating out of us as children when we were taught to grow up. And I definitely agree with that.
I just put in the comments that
Like,
do you want to just show it? You might as well just show it.
Yeah.
I just basically put, when we are young, we are innocent and don't have the concepts to be able to debunk and disprove everything. So our abilities are probably the best at that age.
Yeah. And
I think a lot of people, as they get older, hold on to that. Like, look at me. I'm a 42-year-old, 6-year-old. You know what I mean? And I believe in all this stuff. You know what I mean? And so, like, I think a lot of you just don't, you keep that with you. Like, it doesn't always necessarily have to be, you know, I think as long as you have an open mind, and you kind of, you're like, well, really anything's possible, because like, who's to say it's not? That I think that's actually kind of a really cool predicament to be in, because then you kind of still retain that childish, well, I'd love to say innocence, but I'm a bad person. But so not really. And you kind of keep that mind frame, and it kind of, when you're old enough to really understand and comprehend these kind of like really awesome, just, you know, miracles, for less than, you know, probably a terrible term for it, but phenomena would probably be a more apt description. I think that's super cool. So I guess where I'm going with this very long-winded thing is that it doesn't necessarily have to be lost during childhood.
No, I think it all depends on your family circumstances. So whether you're in a family setting that's very religious, that obviously have a massive part on whether you retain it as an adult.
I'm a big believer in that. I mean, I personally believe, like, we have such a subconscious, like massive subconscious, where everything is stored, like, we don't even realize. So there's a big thing I've been reading about lately. I can't remember where from, but like, you know, like the news of, we were speaking about this earlier, me and Hefty and Marty and that, and like, when you watch the news, it's 99% of it is negative. And I find that the more, like, the first, if you, like most of us do, the first thing you do in the morning, like on your phone, you look at the news, like, what's the news? And it's almost like that immediately puts you in that negative mindset, like, straight away. And do you know what I mean? And that, like you say, that blocks your mind into that negative atmosphere that, like you say, it will not pick up on spiritual things and stuff like that, because it's automatically put back already. And I do think, like, from being a child, like you say, as you're growing up, slowly and slowly, your mind's just getting so full of junk that it does, doesn't it? Like,
yeah.
And I think it gets to the point that, you may go to school, you may come out with a degree in that, but or whatever. But
do not knock my degree.
But I do think that, like, once you've lost something that's so, like, amazing as a child that you didn't even realize you had, and it's sad. Yeah, it's sad. Yeah. I mean, Marty, what do you think, mate? I mean, what's your opinion, buddy?
I don't know. This is like a whole new realm for me. So this is where I get a lot of, like what Adam always says, you get a lot out of stuff that you're not familiar with. So I know I've heard a lot of people say they used to be able to have abilities, like they would hear voices and stuff when they were kids, or even see shadows or see spirit. And then as they got older, it kind of went away. And again, it's because your brain's clouded with everything else that you're not receptive to it anymore.
It's like the Polar Express when the kid can't hear the bell at the end. Well, I mean, you laugh, but I mean, it's the same. It's the same principle. You know? I like the Polar Express.
All my children are quite empathic children. They really do pick up on other people's emotions quite a bit. And my eldest daughter, she's seen and heard things, but she's always tried to block it off. But like my son and my 13-year-old, they've both seen things. And the last we seen was literally it was only a couple of weeks ago, and it was a full-on apparition that I seen walking from a passageway into my living room, and we were standing in the kitchen, and like my 13-year-old daughter, she was in front of us, so she was quite tall. So I was looking over her shoulder, and my son was standing next to us, but he could see out in the passage. So he actually seen somebody go into the living room, and I thought it was my 10-year-old, because I was thinking, well, I should come back downstairs because we were on my way up to bed. It was quite late. It was Friday night, and it was just gone midnight. And we were talking, and I was like, right, I'm going up to bed. I picked my cuppa up, and by the time I got to the living room door, I was like, a bit strange because the lights are out, and 10-year-old does not like being in the dark at all. And I put the light on. I'm like, well, where's she gone? Because I seen her walking into the sitting room, and she was actually still upstairs. She hadn't even come back downstairs. And what I seen, well, my 10-year-old, who is quite tall, so she would have had to have been between the age of like 10, 11, 12 tops. And I seen like it was like a light gown, and she usually puts like a big long t-shirt on for bed, and that's why I thought it was her. And I seen like the hair hat down in a ponytail, and she just literally come from the bottom of my stairs and walk straight into the sitting room. But there was nobody here.
That's
but
crazy.
I couldn't pick up who that was. And I know in the past I have picked up on it was like a father and mother and a young girl who was this. It came through on the spirit box is that a fire, that there was a house fire. Now where I live, this is all like, it was like a mining village. So underneath there's like loads of mines. So I don't know if it could be something from like the history before the mines.
That's actually pretty creepy in and of itself, to be honest with you.
But I see things all the time in this house. But it's the first time though in my own home. Like it's usually always been at my workplace, even when I've done readings for people, or it's like more of a vision. But to see like a full-on apparition in my own home, that was the first that I'd seen that clear, which like I say, I actually thought it was my daughter. But we had already been, I'm trying to think where we had been. I think it was like a mental institution place, where we had been that weekend. And I was thinking at the time, had I brought somebody home with us, even though I told them they had to stay. I was thinking, oh, please no. But I think that, but there again, actually, there was children in that place. But it was just strange. But I haven't seen her since.
So when that happened, were you off put or scared by it? Or were you more accepting of it? You were super accepting? Wow.
I was like, it must have been about a week.
Wow.
I kept on saying, like, are you going to show us yourself again? Are you going to show? No, to see you. And I kept on leaving the light on a little bit, just in case, because there was a little bit of a light coming from the kitchen when I seen her. And I even tried sitting in the dark, and I was like, you can show yourself again. But the only thing, if it hasn't been somebody from the past that obviously I've not known of, I did get back in touch with a lady that weekend as well, funny enough. It was like after I had seen like the young girl that I hadn't spoke to for quite a while, and she lost her daughter. And I think it was due to some form of cancer. And it was playing on my mind, like, has it been our daughter letting us know that, look, you're going to connect with my mum again? Yeah. So that was playing on my mind, because it was just so strange how we managed like getting back in touch with each other again. So I'm not sure on that one. It was a strange one.
I don't know if I could ever get used to that, honestly. and I say this all the time, but it's like, and I know that, people with your gifts, there's a certain amount of just like, oh yeah, hey, there's another one. And I don't think I could ever subscribe to that like just a level of acceptance and just be like, oh, hey, what's up?
I think the vision side of seeing spirit is to me is so different to seeing the full apparition.
Oh, sure.
It's so different, especially in your own home. And that was the first time I had ever seen that young girl. She looked like my daughter from behind as well, just walking into the room. She just walked straight past past the bottom of the corridor, just walk from the bottom of the stairs and walk straight into the sitting room and
That's
just
nuts.
scared.
And then Nick, have you like when we do it, I've always said to Amy we're always prepared for anything to happen. And they say, "Oh, what if you saw a shadow on the wall or something like this?" And the more I do it, the less I think I'm scared of it. And I don't know, Nick, is that the same with you, buddy? Like, I mean, do you get to the point where like
you're just numb?
Yeah, you just accepting of it. You just want to see it and get it on film, no matter what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, considering I've been doing this now for like almost 16 years. I mean, for the most part, I mean, I will be honest, when I first started doing it, I was a little nervous because I wasn't I mean, I was nervous for two reasons. One is obviously I didn't know what I was going to expect, but also I didn't want to I was nervous that nothing was going to, if nothing was going to happen, because then I felt like I was just kind of like wasting my time, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
But for the other nervousness, as I call it, not expecting what I could experience. For the most part, just like anything else, usually after a while, you just get very much used to it. So, anytime I encounter any type of entity, it just doesn't bother me that much. Like when for example, when we had Mike on last week and he told us about that apparition that we saw at Mineral Springs Hotel, for everybody else, it was like really their first time seeing an apparition. I mean, I was in awe too, but at the same time, I was only in awe just how it appeared to us. But deep down inside, I just saw it as just something I've normally seen. So again, that just goes, once again, I'm just so used to it. So it's like, as I always would describe it, kind of like a first time sort of thing. After a while, after that, it's not as bad then. So it's
get used
just
to it.
The first one.
Yeah. Like the stuff we've been having here and stuff like the noises and stuff like that, it doesn't really bother us anymore. It's like it's just the guy.
It's weird.
It's almost like you're so accepting that they're here. You're just like, oh, it's just Bobo. It's just Bobo.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Gets the blame for everything, doesn't he?
He does.
I feel like it's less.
Rob, to answer your question, I look like I'm.
Get it going.
No, I was gonna say, Rob, to answer your question, because he says I look like I'm 20. I'm 28. I've been doing this since I was 12. So you're kind of right, but a few years early.
I did read that. And I was like, yeah, that's true. Actually, he does look like he's about 20.
What were you saying, Amy?
Yeah, I just have a relatively youthful appearance.
Can I just answer? There's a question on there.
Oh, Shauna,
There's a question on there, obviously, on about, is it still okay seeing that spirit that you've seen as a child? Yes, that is normal, because that is how that spirit might not have chosen to grow. The way that I look at it, and the way that a lot of other mediums look at it, that spirit can choose to grow on the other side or stay as they are, and that's how it's like your happy memories, your happy times. So some people might see somebody's grandmother, what she looked like in her 50s, but she passed away in her 80s or 90s. And when I've seen my sister, even though, God bless, she would have been 39 the other day, I still see her. I still see her when I've seen my visions of her as an 8-year-old. So I don't see her as a grown woman. So if you're still seeing the same spirit that you seen as a child, that just means that spirit is, they're basically they're there, like they're protecting you. No, they're like, it was maybe walking like a path with you. And that's obviously what then brings you on to your guides and things like that as well, because nobody's ever said, ever when I've read up on anything, they always say your guide has obviously never been actually here on the earth plane. Mm-hmm. But nobody ever says that a guide always has to look like an adult. So
that's true.
Even though you have spirit guides, when some people see a child, as a guide, as like say the same child spirit, that could be your guide, but it's obviously in a child form. Like
So you'd be kind of quicker to
nobody
dismiss
knows
it.
because we haven't been to heaven, you know, to actually say this, but it's what we see. But everybody assumes that adult looking.
Yeah.
So you never know that it could be it's just somebody who's walking with you, protecting you through your whole life, especially if you see the same spirit and you've moved and things like that. It could be a guide.
Oh, okay. Well,
And nobody could really argue with you on that one when you say it that way because nobody knows.
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
It's never ever been. I've never ever read it anywhere to say that a guide has to be in an adult
An
form.
adult, right?
What
Mhm.
about even animals? Could you have a
And
spirit?
yes, I always see a white wolf around me,
Ooh,
and
that's
I've felt that
awesome.
white wolf for years.
Got it.
But yes, no, it could be anything. It could be a butterfly or something so small as that. But it's always been a white wolf that I've seen.
Mine would probably be a dung beetle.
Dung.
That's about.
I thought you were
That's
going to say
about.
a donkey there.
Or Fat Boy Georgie. Maybe Fat Boy Georgie is my.
I can already imagine what I can.
Oh, smelly bum there.
Smelly bum.
You know what? I can already imagine what Tom and Amy's animal would be, and that's definitely a white guinea pig.
Oh.
I actually got bitten by a white guinea pig as well.
Did you really?
Yeah.
I think mine would be the guinea pig, and yours would be like a tiger.
Yeah, because I love tigers, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just the animal I love.
What barn for white wolf?
I've completely forgotten, to be honest.
Oh man.
No, I was just going to say, I think the reason why we're kind of okay with what happens in our house is because we have a name to it. I think if you don't have a name to something, you're more likely to be afraid
But
of
even
it.
then, I think it's just you guys, it's accepting that there's things that go on that we don't understand, and just accept that it can't harm. Like 99.9% of the time, it will not harm you. Like it can't.
But there's always the
There's always that
possibility.
slight
Yeah.
chance. I'm a huge believer in, and I'm sure like you guys agree that it depends on what you are asking for. If you ask for negative things or bad things to come through, you're going to get negativity in reply. Like we never do that. We may have like Bobo.
It's your intentions. That's the word.
Yep.
Yes.
I sold off to Bobo. I sold out to Bobo, so now I work for the other side now. What's funny?
I did have one last point because we're on
Fact
about
that it's true.
Yeah.
so it fits in nicely with it. That's probably the reason why animals are so sensitive, because they're innocent and they're not changed by media or families or anything like that.
They live in the moment, don't they? Yeah.
Animals see spirit, yeah.
Because ours do. Like, I mean, I'm sure everyone that's got dogs, they've seen dogs do some weird shit.
I mean, our
like,
dog, Daisy, does
I mean,
some weird stuff.
yeah, they.
George couldn't care less.
Yeah, George. There we go.
Oh,
Guilty as charged. Oh, it's a puppers. Oh, you're getting nuzzles. All right, stop. I'm gonna really just cute out now. That's adorable.
Oh, it's so sweet. You've been nice
Rob,
to do.
that-
Oh,
that-
another one.
that,
It's Dolly. She was my dad's dog.
Rob said to you that you always worked for the
Yes, no, he is correct. He is correct. Yeah, that's guilty as charged.
But I think, like, saying that, like, what you get, like, your intentions. I mean, I am very interested in the darker side of the paranormal. That's me and Amy, like yin and yang. I like the more demonic side of stuff. That's what I'm interested in. And you're more interested in the light side. But that doesn't mean
I
that.
still like vampires and.
Yeah, that doesn't
stuff
mean
like
though that I'm conjuring demons and shit and all this stuff. It's like it's just like it's your intentions all the time. I mean, if we started doing like rituals here and stuff and getting some negative shit, I'm sure of it. Like, I mean, we've got dolls that people who have given them to us, who have sold them to us, and that have said that they've had paranormal teams that even refuse to work with these dolls or even be in the same room as a doll. And we've got it sat in our living room and we just live a normal life with it. It's like, but we don't think of it as it's going to do something negative. We just think, just let it do what it's going to do. just see what
Well,
happens.
within reason.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, whoa, hold on here.
You gotta draw a
Just get
line
a carte blanche and be like, yeah, have at it. You like that fine china? Smash it. Go ahead, whatever.
No smashing. I always say that in the video, don't I, when we leave, I go, you can do what you want, just don't break anything.
Just don't break. But then if they can break some as long as it's on camera.
No, just don't break anything.
Yeah, as long as you can get evidence of it.
If I can film it, do what you want.
No.
Linda, I have a.
Uh-oh.
Oh, nice
lost
job,
her.
Marty. You pissed her off.
Now,
Look at me, dude.
I think her connection went.
She
'cause
was
it looked
sitting-
like
she
she
was-
fose there.
She was
Yeah.
sitting next
Yeah.
to you on the top row up there.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I
her
think it's your
connection
fault.
froze her. I hope her phone didn't die.
Back.
That's lost her. Up there she is.
There she is.
There she is.
That was my fault. I was trying to come off the messages and then I pressed back instead of the little X. That was my
No,
fault.
that's
sorry.
okay. We just blamed it on Marty.
You're good.
I get blamed for
Yeah.
everything.
Adam, you said you was gonna have a question, buddy.
Oh yeah. So hold on.
And then we'll drop.
So, what was one of your most, Linda? One of the most maybe moving moments for you that kind of like, I mean, from what you've said already, it sounds like you've been through an awful lot, which I'm sure actually has to do with a lot of your being more receiving to these the signals and everything. Forgive my terminology again. I'm very new to this as well. But so what is one of the most like prolific or most profound instances that have had just a huge effect on you? And I know you've talked about a couple already, but is there anything that's like?
There is a couple, but there's one that when I started looking into things a bit more and opening up a bit more, and at the time I hadn't long opened a salon, and yeah, I was finding it so hard to concentrate because I just kept on hearing voices and seeing things, and it wasn't until another medium actually says, look, you need to be able to block yourself off. No, there's a difference between your life and then communicating. And once I was able to do that, then it was so much easier. But at one point, I remember sitting with a lady. Now, she was telling me about an ex-partner. Has your sound gone funny, or is it just mine?
That's just hefty.
That's just me. I mute my mic.
All right.
I can still hear you. I am still listening. Just if I call for whatever, I don't want to put it on. Like,
But
that's
I
up to my
remember
tricks.
this lady, anyways, she was sitting talking to us, and I was just sitting on the chair beside her, and she was just saying that, did I pick up on anything? And it wasn't obviously a second husband that she lost. It wasn't him, which she thought was going to come through for her. And we were sitting talking, and this was like one of my first experiences where I actually felt it myself.
Oh wow!
And she mentioned about an ex-partner that he was like obviously the father of our two children, and he walked out on them when the children were only toddlers. And then it was a couple of years back, she found out that he had passed away with a heart attack in his flat. Now, when she was just starting to talk about it, and I just seen, do you know the way you would stand behind like a bit of furniture and you would do that? I don't know if you've done it when you were kids, and you'd make that, you'd come down low and then make yourself look as if you're walking upstairs.
I still do
You know
it
what I
at
mean?
work.
Yeah.
I do it at
Yes,
work.
that's okay.
I know. I actually
So do I
do.
with
I'm
the
not.
kids.
I still do.
But that is like as if he was doing that. It's as if he was coming upstairs from behind her. And I seen him as clear as day. And I just had to stop her, and I described this gentleman to her, and she was like, yes, that's my first husband. And
That's insane.
all I got was, do you know, if you stand up too quick and then you get like the head rush,
Lightheaded,
like,
yeah.
and it literally, you just feel it draining. And the way this happened was, I just got this emotion come over us, and I just sat in the chair and I was sobbing. And all I just kept on getting was that I had to say to this lady, look, I apologize for for walking out on you. I didn't mean to. I still loved you up until the day I passed away. And I was sitting crying in the chair. And I thought, she's going to think I'm putting this on here. And then all of a sudden, it was like that kind of head rush you would get, but it was in reverse, literally. It come from like my stomach. And it was like a suction, like up the ways. And as soon as I felt it come off my head, the emotion stopped. I stopped crying. And I sat for a couple of seconds. It felt longer. And she was like, "Are you okay?" And I was just like, I've never, ever had that happen to us, ever. That's the first time. And it was like he put his emotion on me because he wanted her to know that he was sorry for what he had put her through. And I guess I get goosebumps on my hairs and stuff.
I was getting goosebumps when you were telling me that.
Yeah,
the emotion that I got was just, and that is where I was like, wow, I could actually really help people here.
Yeah.
You know, as well as like helping myself, but I'm like, helping me is helping other people. And that's how I help myself. And that was one of like my main like shock kind of first ever feeling.
Yeah.
It was just mind blowing. It was. But that there and a reading I'd done for a daughter's friend where I literally felt as if a car sitting in my daughter's bedroom, felt as if a car like came past us really quick, and then my neck was sore. And I'm like cutting like a big long story short, and the person that I was picking up on was a brother and sister. One was hit by a car, and one was then had committed suicide and obviously snapped his neck, falling off a bridge. And
wow.
those two things in one was like the first ever experiences I had when I started looking into things. And that's when I was like, wait a minute, I actually have something here. And then I just started to work on it. But I haven't been well with it myself lately, so I try not to do readings because I always like to be able to give as good as I can get, really. So when I'm down and I'm feeling low, I won't do a reading because I want to be able to give something good. That's the way that I do. That's the way I work, really. But I think it's just been COVID. I think it's just had everybody like that.
Yeah, it absolutely
100%.
has.
Yep.
I'm just liking his backdrop.
Oh yeah, no, Nick is the king of those. That guy has
Backdrop and everything.
Yeah.
Marty, you had I know you had a few questions for obviously Kerry last week. I don't know if you can remember.
She actually answered the ones that I had written down.
Oh,
So.
happy days.
I seem to do that a lot, though. I do actually seem to do that a lot.
Oh, she's good. She's good. Linda's good. She
Get them
answered
all
the
out in
questions.
one.
And now the puppers.
But there's one in the comments. I'll just drop that one in a second. But I'll just quickly say that must be such like an emotional toll on you to do this and like almost feel these people's pain and emotions. That must really take like emotional toll on yourself.
It's enough having our own emotions.
Yeah, having your own like shit going on in your life, let alone, and then actually having to feel somebody else's. Like that's someone else like suicide and stuff like that. You think that must be horrendous to keep feeling that and then having to describe that to somebody.
Right.
Yeah. It is, but that's why you've got to be able to say, right, okay, I'm switching myself off. Don't get us wrong, I can switch myself off, but if I'm standing with somebody, like wasn't that long ago, I was standing in a shop and which was actually serving as the lady, and I had to say, look, I always make sure that I approach somebody as in, do you believe in the spirit world? And I know it sounds funny that I'm asking you this, but do you? And because if they turn around and say no, and I'll go, okay, right, well, I'm gonna have to pass on that one. Do you know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
I can't just turn around and put it on someone. I can't turn around and say, look, I've got your dad here. No, and they turn around and have a heart attack on us or something. So I always try to put that in there. Look, do you believe in the spirit world? And lucky enough, this lady did. And I just say straight, because I'm standing here, I do mediumship. I just have to let you know that there's a grandmother, and I told her she looks quite Spanish looking. That was the only way I could literally describe this lady, and she was like, "That's my grandmother." And I was like, "But when I'm standing in the queue there, she come through, and And all it was is that she wanted to pass on to say, let her know that everything was going to be okay, and she knew what she was talking about. And so it's like moments like that. If they want to break through, they'll break through that barrier.
Yeah.
But just as a day-to-day thing, I just try to block myself off. But it is hard sometimes. If something's to come through, it'll come through.
Do you feel that you could help people that, so what you were just saying, so somebody's like, no, I don't you feel that if you were like, you were just like, okay, well, anyway, this is going to sound nuts, but here you go.
I've been
and then you give it to them, and they're just like,
I've been looking at everybody I've spoke to's beliefs.
Oh, okay.
So
I was going to say.
I'm skeptical people, but it's one of them. I'll cross that bridge when I get to it.
Yeah, because I just be like, okay, well, your mother is standing right next to you in her wedding, and then you describe the person to her and be like, but you don't believe, so I'll just be on my way. You know what I mean? I feel like you can do a lot.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's amazing.
I would probably try and when I'm standing by, like, in front of somebody, it's different. Like me talking to you now over this, it's easier to communicate with that person. And if I couldn't get it as a message of like, oh, look, okay, I've got a loved one here and they want you to know this, I would probably just twist it and get it over as like put it more towards my psychic abilities and put it down to, like, just say, for instance, I was picking up on a loved one to say, look, everything's going to be okay for you. I would maybe just try and, because I'm terrible for talking to people standing in a queue at the shops or anything like that. And that's a way that I would probably do it, is put it more towards, look, I'm like a psychic, I do this, I do that. I don't want to sound rude, but I pick up on such and such around you, maybe just like on their energy, and then change it. I would change it. I usually pick up good, somebody standing in front of us. Like, I've had a lady who sat in front of us, dressed up to the eyeballs of, you wouldn't think that she wanted for anything, but I picked up on her straight away, and that she struggled with her rent, she struggled with her bills, but you wouldn't have thought of looking at her. And I felt awful bringing this up to this lady, because she actually broke down crying, and she was like, everything you've said is true. But you wouldn't have thought of looking at the woman. But it was because when I'd done the reading, I picked that up from her, and it come out on the cards too. That she just needed to, basically she needed to speak to somebody. That's what she needed to do. Obviously, I never give out names of people, but it's okay. It's I'm able to bring up, like, the experiences that I've had with people. So
that's amazing.
Indigo had a good point. She's Indigo CRS, who's obviously in the comments. Guys, check out her channel. She's also a psychic medium. She's been on our live before. She says it's difficult as you don't know the relationship that they had with the spirit that is presenting as well, which that must actually happen. We've got time for a couple of questions, guys, in the comments. There was a couple of questions already. There was one up there. Shana says, "Can animals see spirits?"
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think. Awesome. Yeah. Another one is Sandy. She says, "Can you actually tell if someone committed suicide or was murdered?" That must be difficult.
The way that I've always seemed to pick up on it is that I've known that you just get that. I get that feeling of, boom, something's happened to, like, instantly. Quick. It's like it wasn't meant to happen, but it did happen, because I feel I've had a few where they haven't actually meant to take their own life. It's basically been like a call for help, but it went the wrong way.
Accident, yeah. And
it's always been the feeling of, let my loved one know that I'm sorry for putting them through that, but the main thing is that they need to know is I'm happier where I am now, and they've got that comfort zone now, but they can't emphasize enough to let their loved ones know that they are sorry for putting them through everything they've put them through, but while they were here they couldn't say that. So but the murder, touch wood, I haven't come across any murders yet. But I think it would come probably the same way to me as the life was just taken. Like I just see like a straightforward block, as if the life's been taken too soon, too quick. And that I get that like with heart attacks and stuff. No, I always usually get like the slight niggle of pain around my chest, or if it's been in the head. But I usually always get that quickness, and that's when I know it's like for cancer. I always usually get a letter C, and I know then it's a cancer-related illness.
Okay.
And it's strange though.
Yeah.
I've had that on some people. And say if their loved ones passed away with a heart attack or something, they haven't been tested for cancer. And I've had a C, and it's been like this. And I remember one lady I spoke to. It was it was a mum, and she said that her mum did have trouble with her bowels, and that was the area I was getting with the C. And to me, that she had some form of cancer in her bowels, but obviously it wasn't checked for because. Once again, she passed with a heart attack.
Yeah, that's not what they were looking for.
People don't
Right.
look for these things. That's it. You know, if you pass away with one thing, they don't go, and then they can say that's what it's been. They don't go searching for the rest of the other problems.
There's a
So-
problem with it.
Mhm.
All right. Unfortunately, we are running out of time. But it's been. I could keep on asking you questions all night. I'm sure. Listening to you speak and your knowledge on this stuff and just your experiences alone, it's an eye opener. That's for sure. It's a real eye opener.
Yep.
Things you do, but we have come to the part of the show that is Hefty's favourite, and obviously,
You know what it is.
That's right, the end.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no. This is fun. No, I
where
can't even say that. I love this. I love doing this. I didn't mean it, Tom, Amy. Nick.
Is Matt in the comments? I haven't seen Matt yet.
He was there earlier. We're just going to go ahead and assume he is listening, or we'll catch it.
He'll like
he's
pop
got-
in and go.
He's
"Oh,
lurking.
He's got Google ready.
He's lurking in the shadow like Marty over there. Oh, shadow figure Marty.
So yes, favorite
I got
Jeff's
it.
excited. See, here we go.
ready for it."
This is everyone loves this part of the show. Kerry's in there as well. I see Kerry's there.
Shamed him out the chat.
Hey, Carrie.
Yep, there's Carrie.
Super shout out to
That was
Carrie.
Nick that shamed him out.
Oh, wait, what?
So
Well,
Linda, this is part of the show we do like a random these are random questions. No one knows the answer to the look on the back. You've seen it probably before.
Shot in the
It's a
dark.
shot in the dark. You get on Amazon. It's just a big guess.
Hi, Stacy.
I usually get them wrong.
Yeah, unless you're Matt or
Yeah, unless you're Matt. That freaking jerk.
You got a couple right.
Yeah.
So without any further ado, we'll
He
crack
used to
out.
be great at it, but now he has not been so good.
Oh yeah, because he sucked it up a bunch too. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
right.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
He did good like the one show, and we're just like, we won't let that.
Never gonna let it go.
Never. Never gonna give you up.
Yeah, take part in the comments, guys.
Yes, guys, it's a bit of fun. End on a high is what we always like to do.
Yes.
So, what type of animal is the most common pet in the UK? Nice, easy one.
Cat.
Guinea pig.
Not bad shout though.
I'll say it's got to be hard between a cat and a dog, isn't it?
Good too. Oh, wait.
I'm going with the fugly
I'm
pugs
going
here. Question the
with
dog.
a dog. I'm going with dog.
Dog, you go with dog. Happy days.
Cat.
Even though I've got cat and a dog, so
All right, Tui says guinea pig. Oh, interesting. Okay.
I reckon a cat.
Jeff's
I've got
dog.
guinea pigs too.
I'll say guinea pig too.
Guinea pig too. Marty?
If it was me, then
Yeah, guinea pig. That's the
Yeah.
first one I went with. Yeah.
Who's the dog?
I'm going to go something totally wrong. I'm going to go hamster. Just.
Oh, we've got them as
That's
well.
close to guinea
I'm
pig.
sure.
You can't piggyback
Smaller
somebody
version.
else's answer.
Yeah.
All right.
Can't go do. Can't
Don't
do
you?
that.
You're going to be on my side. We're outnumbered here. I'm going to go
Oh,
with.
cat.
I'm going to go fish. I'll go fish, like goldfish
Fish
and
is a
stuff.
good one. Fish is
I'll go-
Fish is a good one. Fish is a good one.
And this is a good one.
It is. Oh yes, fish.
Is it really?
I haven't looked at the answers yet.
I was in.
There are 36 million fish kept as pets in the UK.
That's not
Wow.
compared
You've
to
got, like-
8.5 million
Well,
dogs, 7.5
no
million
way.
cats.
Well, we've got a 200-litre fish tank.
I don't know if I can share
Yeah, that's true.
With the
yeah.
wine underneath, though, Amy. That's the important part.
Got to have the wine.
One
Oh,
dog.
fish. Okay, okay.
Yeah, so
That's a good,
All right.
that's a good shout.
Fair enough.
We came second with the dogs, anyways.
Yeah.
8.5 million dogs though. That's a lot of dogs.
Yeah, and,
in the
and then
UK.
it probably would be cat underneath
It
there.
is 7.5 million
Oh, is
cats.
it? Okay,
Yeah,
fair enough.
nobody
Yeah.
likes cats.
Well,
Well, 7.5 million people do.
yeah.
Apparently.
I've got
So
two.
Bad jokes.
I didn't.
Oh,
I wasn't going to cheat. I did
Bad
not
jokes.
cheat.
So you did shoot.
I didn't cheat.
No, he's no, Tom. He's making what we call dad jokes here, which are just really terrible jokes. No. We'll get to that next Sunday.
Yeah. Right. How many people were killed on mainland USA by enemy action during World War II? Mainland
Oh.
USA.
Oh,
You
man.
guys should have the advantage here.
Too many.
Yeah, too many, definitely.
I'm
I
guessing
have
that is
no
not going to
idea.
be the
A
answer.
lot.
Where's Matt on this
Definitely
one?
a lot.
Yeah.
Zero.
Yeah, come on.
I'm going with
Jeff said
Oh, I-
0.
0?
Zero.
because
World War II.
it's
I
not
know.
Hawaii. It's mainland.
Rob,
Zero.
And where? In mainland USA for World War II?
Mainland.
500,000. I'm going zero because I think it is.
None. T-Bone's
Yeah, I was
right.
gonna
He was in
say,
the
yeah.
army. Yeah, none of them because
I don't think there is
there was
either.
no fighting over here.
No.
It was all abroad.
no.
Mm.
Yeah. Kerry says 4.
Kerry says 4. They were just they were right wankers, so they had it coming.
Where's your psychic abilities?
Yeah, come
Give
on.
us a number.
Well, Lindy, what you
Rob
your
has-
abilities in?
Oh, Rob has a point. Says the only U.S. attack was Pearl
Yeah, which
Harbor,
isn't
but you
mainland.
have to remember though. You have to remember too. This was back in 1941. Pearl Harbor is located in Hawaii. Hawaii did not become a state until U.S. state until 1959.
Right.
That's what I was thinking of the
It
Pearl
wasn't
Harbor.
considered, yeah.
Yeah. She's cheating.
She sensed them out, Kerry.
Where are you going to go, Linda?
Ooh.
I'm going to go zero. I've got to go zero.
I'm going 0. It's got to be.
You have to say at least
Sandy
one.
misunderstood the point.
I'll go with 10.
10.
Okay.
Sandy, this question was how many people were killed on mainland USA by enemy action during World War II? So mainland USA, not Hawaii or anything like
It's definitely got to be zero.
Right.
I'll
Yeah.
go with
Like I said, Hawaii was kind of more of a U.S. territory than an actual like part of the mainland, even though it still technically isn't. But yeah,
Mm.
it's just
Completely off.
Thank you, Professor
There was-
Buzzkill. Jesus.
No, not completely off. The closest is actually Kerry. She got the closest.
What?
are
Really?
you serious?
Really?
What?
Yeah, it's 6
No way.
people. 6
What?
people.
Go
Excuse me.
Kerry.
What?
Really? Well, that's
I
I
I mean,
thought
they
it
were
would have been
both.
more.
But you know what, though? I mean, Lindiloos.
That's crazy.
Yeah, oh yeah, you're quite close as well, Lindy. So it's between you and Kerry. I think you're about.
Yeah. Oh, that's well. What a surprise! The psychic mediums get closest to the answer to the question.
Carrie's
I thought
shocked
it would
that
have
she
been
got
more,
close.
really, though.
Cheated.
It actually says it.
Yeah.
There was no fighting on mainland USA, but one Japanese balloon carrying bombs killed 6 Americans.
What? Oh, come on! Now that's just some like page 14 historical blurb that was underneath
You
the
win a
Woolworths
clap.
ad.
You win a class.
Yeah. But kudos to you,
That wasn't
ladies.
very
All
good.
right.
That's crazy.
Well done.
I live in the country and I didn't know that one.
All right. In
Yeah.
what's one now?
Yeah, but to be
Huh?
fair to you though, there, Adam, when you come over here and you want to obviously live here, they obviously have a test, don't they, that they have to try and pass.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. So it's kind of like the citizenship thing they have over here, right?
Question.
Oh, I'd fail the one for my country. I was
Yeah.
born here. I lucked out. I was like, I don't know
Couldn't even do it.
I couldn't do half the questions.
I was born too.
that.
All right, we have 2 more. I think we've got time. Yes, sorry. Which spice is the most expensive in the world? Which spice?
It's
Sage.
Oh my god.
Sage.
Sage.
No,
Sage.
no, it's
Yeah.
Sage is expensive.
sapphire.
Yeah, but
Sapphire.
There's
That's,
a
I don't know if that's a spice though. Is it sapphire?
Is it?
Saffron,
That's
she
a-
means.
Saffron. Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah,
saffron. That's the
No, it's
one.
You
okay.
say sapphire is a rock.
Saffron, that's the
But
one.
they could sage, but it could be
Jeff's sitting this one out, he says.
sitting this one out.
Yeah, I was about to
Turmeric.
say this out. He has no clue.
Saffron.
Carry some saffron as well.
Get a couple of
Sandy says turmeric.
Turmeric.
I don't know. I reckon it could be a weird one.
Really? Like,
I reckon it could be.
Like allspice.
Well, I
Sage
don't know.
is
I'm going to sit on the fence. I don't know. I'm going to.
I think it's saffron.
Saffron.
Please tell me I got it right. Please tell me I got it right.
I'm not telling you shit.
Oh.
Is it right?
Yeah, saffron.
No way.
Oh.
Go, Amy.
All right, listen.
Harry said saffron.
Yeah, Carrie wins. All right, so all right.
Gary's doing
I
well.
put it
Apparently saffron is more.
Oh, Nick did too, yeah.
Oh yeah, Nick. Yeah.
Chewy's guessing saffron too. Tom be sleeping on the couch.
Tom's sleeping on the couch.
I think it's safer. It actually says here as well. It says it's actually more expensive than gold. It's 50
What?
pounds per gram.
You like tiny
What?
bit is like
No way.
50 quid a gram.
You go
Let me find out. Saffron is going to be the next cryptocurrency.
I would
Yeah,
be
right.
surprised.
if you just go to a shop, right, and you go and buy it, you know there's like 5 strands in a pot. It's
Huh.
crazy. So
All right, we've got one more. We've got time for one
Carrie,
more.
Can somebody put Carrie out? She's on fire.
Yeah.
That sounds painful. Are you okay?
I'm a typical Geordie,
All right.
you know, salt, vinegar, pepper. That's it. That's all
There you go.
the stuff
There you
we
go.
use.
That's what's up.
Incenses are different, but when it comes to stuff like that, no.
Salt,
Salt and
pepper.
pepper, that's
There
it.
you
I don't
go.
think I've ever
Or
even
mixed
had
herbs.
anything with saffron in it.
you're not.
No, you probably have. You're posh, aren't you? Anyway.
You better.
Oh,
Yeah, you're
what
sleeping
was
with
that?
George.
You're
tonight.
definitely sleeping on the couch tonight,
Yeah,
Bob.
yeah.
I'll pop you one in the eye.
Oh, you what percentage of UK jobs are classified as being at high risk of being replaced by robots in the next 10 to 20 years?
Quite a few.
Police.
I'd say.
I would say 60.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's going to be high.
60 or 65.
Oh.
I'm going to say 60, 65. I can't give 2 answers, so but I did. So there we go.
I would say more. I've said
I'm gonna go with
That's
60.
100. Let's
No,
say
no,
60?
no. Let me take that back.
It's 70%.
I'm gonna go with 80.
Oof.
70,
It's
80.
ooh,
It's
high
going to be a
rollers.
lot.
Oh, the question was, Tui, I don't have the card. Tom.
Tui, is what percentage of UK jobs are going to be... I'll start that again, sorry. What percentage of UK jobs are classified as being at high risk of being replaced by robots
Oh, yeah,
in the
sorry.
next 10 to 20 years?
I'm
Yeah,
so
please.
I thought it was percentage, so I'm going to go 80%.
Sandy said
Yeah.
20%. Gary said 30%.
Jeff
And I
says
said I'm gonna go with
70.
80%.
Nick's going 80. I'm going 60. Linda?
Go 70.
Okay.
Probably all on the line.
Marty, what
75.
about you?
Right,
Oh,
Yeah, but then if
you are
even
just
if it's
the
on,
worst.
if it's all online as well, you still got to have people working. So
I
Yeah.
don't know. I reckon it's going to be
That's
90%.
Yeah.
I think 80%.
The robot army is already here. The robot revolution has already started. There are way more robots than there are humans.
Robot movie.
Fair.
Just say your percentage again.
That is true. That is true.
What did
What?
you say, Linda? What percentage?
70%.
No.
Marty said 75. Nick said 80. I said 80. Adam said what? Sorry?
I said 60. I'll go with 60.
60, 65.
Well, we're all well off. Who's closest? Kerry.
40%.
It's 35% according
Wow.
to University of
I
Oxford.
Must be
Indigo
40 as
nailed
well.
it. Indigo
Oh,
nailed
yeah.
it. 35, you said?
Indigo is bang on.
And
Oh,
yeah,
what did
Carrie,
I say?
Carrie was close.
Wow.
Again.
Indigo.
Wow. Do you know what it is? I should have stuck with my first one. I was going to say 40, then I thought, no, everything's going to end up electronic now.
You can't
I should
use
have stuck with my first one.
colours.
Oh.
Because
For some the
Yeah,
side
well, I try though. Oh, I don't use them for things like that.
Looks like Kerry and Indigo have though. they were tuning in then.
Yeah, you guys are like at the
Yeah,
top
there's
of
got to be a
this.
rule like no mediums can participate in the trivia. That's not fair.
Oh my god.
Oh, that was nice. Jeffy says he's happy to hear it was so low. That's really cool.
It's a good thing.
And you know, I'm gonna have to agree with him. I know we got to get going, but just real quick, I like the human interaction. Like I'll wait in line as opposed to going to a self-checkout thing because that's somebody that needs that job, and I like talking with people, even if it's just for a simple transaction. Because you know what, you can tell a lot about a person's day and how they're doing. And I'm a pretty happy guy, so I try to make everybody happy. And I work in retail, so I know most of them have pretty crappy days. So I try to make them happy. So I will go to an actual person.
Like, because I work
now you're still what the hell? What the hell have you been?
He was busy posing as Carrie and Indigo.
Yeah, you're gonna have to wait till next Friday now. Indigo and Carrie are kind of at the top of this, so you'll have to wait till next Friday, man. Indigo says at least it wasn't geography this time.
Yeah, I think like I always said, because I work in retail as well, like the more people use self checkouts, like the more they'll put them in. If we don't use them, they won't.
Yeah.
So, and they get, like, you've seen it, like at Tesco's or whatever, you get one person like running 10 tills, and the people, the customers are doing the work for them, but you're not getting paid for it.
Yeah, right. Anybody want to tell Matt that he missed out and he sucks?
No,
prepare for a clean sweep
tonight. Oh, I don't know. But yeah, we have unfortunately come to the end. It's been a cracking show. Real good laugh. Some very interesting experiences from you, Linda.
Yep.
Thank you for having us on.
Yeah, anytime.
Matt, you're too late. Give it
He just says hamster.
Yeah, give it up.
Is he like watching this back? Is he only just caught?
He might be.
I don't know. He had a busy afternoon, so I don't know what the lag is or whatever. We'll just say tough.
Hamster.
Matt, give it up. You'll have to wait till next
Which
Friday.
makes it random answers popping up now.
I can't believe we're related.
So from us, before we go, you guys, obviously.
Why are you looking at me like I have all the answers?
Well, you usually do, don't you? We have got a new video will be coming up hopefully by Monday. I'll do my best to get it up. I am working all weekend, but I will do my best to get it up. There is an incredible EVP that we captured.
Mind blowing.
The guys here obviously nodding like they've heard it firsthand. Nick, you're going to hear it after this in the private zone.
Yeah,
honestly, guys, I cannot explain it. We cannot explain it. It's incredible.
Yeah.
It will be coming out Monday, hopefully.
And it's not us.
It's
It's definitely not.
We aren't on any more walks until hopefully next week. We've not got any plan for this weekend. But next Friday we have got the good. Which way is that? Marty, right over in that corner. It's going to be the Marty show. We are.
Enjoy your couch.
Some of the
And Nick, you do. You have a very genuine laugh, Nick. I do enjoy your laugh as well.
Yeah.
It's definitely infectious.
I gotta bring this up. He's like,
yeah.
I've already gotten 2 comments today. Like someone was thinking that I look like I was 20, and they're commenting how young I look, and now it's about my laugh.
Yeah, I know. Hey.
Okay, I just have a genuine laugh, and I just have a youthful appearance.
You got the old man
like
wheeze
bigger
on
and bigger and bigger.
He's loving it, isn't he?
Oh, God.
Cheers, Ahmed. Thank you for joining us, buddy. But yeah, so it's going to be the Marty show next Friday. He's going to show us some of these evidence he's captured and the use of torches and that you've been using. So we're going to go in depth with that side of things, and obviously your love for the UFO and all that side. It's going to be an awesome show.
And in future shows, we're going to start talking about conspiracies.
Yeah, so we are planning to do conspiracy theories and ancient mysteries as like special shows. So that will be coming up. Matt's still putting.
Oh, he must be lagging. Yeah, he must be like real behind. Oh man, poor guy. He'll get it when he gets to this part of the video. It's like time travel almost.
You know what he might be doing? Because I know you can rewind on a live feed. He's probably asking. He's probably like behind on the actual live feed. Like he's probably like 10 minutes behind or something like that.
Matt, put
yep.
Hefty, you got anything that's coming up?
Let's see. Next Sunday on my channel, I believe I'm going to have a couple of blokes from your side of the pond, and Marty and myself. And actually, Nick, if you would like to join on this, it's basically so it's going to be Tom, Amy, Marty, and his wife Carrie, and me, and hopefully you, if you want to join next Saturday, next Sunday, 3:00 New York time. We're going to be discussing the differences between British people and the ugly Americans.
It's gonna be all right.
So it's gonna be fun. We're gonna discuss vernacular, customs, just all sorts of stuff. It's gonna be fun. Tom and Amy are gonna have to do their American impressions.
Yeah.
It's
we are gonna rip you
got me.
You're not. What's that?
You got me.
You're in? All right.
You
All
got
right.
me.
So
I'll be
tune
there.
in next Sunday, 3:00 Eastern Standard Time for that. YouTube.com/HefTV, HEFTV. And that's it.
Yeah. Marty, you got anything going on, buddy?
Nah, man, just still waiting on June for that UFO stuff to come out from the government and CIA and stuff. So talking a little bit with Michael Hall. So hopefully we can try to get him back on after that stuff gets released.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, they will do, Rob.
Sandy likes when we say
I
bloke.
could do more of an Irish.
I love to hear this.
I could do more of an
Yeah, we'll
Irish
definitely
accent,
do.
to be honest with you.
Yeah,
Stay
we'll do it,
tuned
Mark.
for all sorts of
It's gonna be fun.
Right?
It's gonna be fun.
Nick, you got anything coming up, mate? Are you got any
Right?
investigations?
Bloody hell.
Yeah, I actually do. So sorry, I was reading Sandy's comments. Yes, so let's see what I got. Let's see what I got going on. So you guys have probably seen in the chat that we're supposed to be heading over to Waverly Hills, not next weekend, but the day after next weekend, April 26th. Now, originally, I was not going to be able to go because I had no other means of transportation. When I also heard that they had all the spots filled up, I was really disappointed. The only part of what I learned is that they were going to be doing it next year. But still, I was like, oh darn, most of them are going to be there, and they won't, I won't be able to go. Well, fortunately, my parents have been able to help me out, and may actually have gotten a ride from to go to Louisville, Kentucky. And they also told me too that there were three spots that were left open because 3 people dropped out. And one spot open for me, reserved. So I'm all ready to go. So we'll be doing the investigation at Waverly. And we're going to be doing it as a live panel on the Paranormal United Network. So this means I got not 1, but 4 shows next week. I got Petri Dish next Thursday, our show next Friday, then this show you're talking about, Adam, on Sunday, and then the live panel on Monday night. So
you're in high demand, brother.
I almost forgot. Actually, make that 5 because right before we begin the investigation, a few of us from Pun are actually going to be going live on Matt TV from Canada.
Oh, that's cool.
Just right before we go on the investigation. So actually, make that 5 shows.
Jeez.
Wow, you'll be a busy man. Linda,
where can? Oh, sorry.
Go on, sorry.
I was just going to ask where I can follow her at on Instagram and such.
All
the descriptions are
just there, we'll have it below. But obviously, we're still working out where we're to go tomorrow night. Fingers crossed, I can try. I've got to have a look tomorrow afternoon because it's quite light. Even when it's up to 8:30, 9 o'clock, so we're having to go live a little bit later just so we can get into places without being seen. If I know that I can't get into, it's like an old it was like an old nurses building. It was used for the nurses, especially going back in it was like the World War II. They used it then. I was actually saying about it last night, and about that there's a tunnel from there to another part. Obviously, I've got to watch what I say because I don't want, if anybody sees us talking, I don't want them to ring the police and say, "Look, you've got somebody in, yes, you've got such and such inside the building. We know who it is." So if we kind of get in there, we have got another location, and it's an abandoned big church with big graveyard. And only come across that yesterday, and funny enough, a client in the salon today actually brought up the same church. She was like, "Oh, no, it's a good place," and she was saying that there's obviously graves there from going back in like the early 1800s. So there is a couple of locations, but it'll be probably about 9 o'clock UK time tomorrow when we're due to go live. But that'll be on my Lindiloo Psychic Medium page on Facebook.
Okay.
Cool. And that,
So
the link
it'll be on there.
is all at the bottom.
Yeah, Facebook and Instagram.
It's all in the description. So yeah, we'll definitely check that out. But yeah,
Sometimes I try to go from either Instagram then over to Facebook, or like vice versa, Facebook over to Instagram.
happy
I want
days.
to try and get it all in one place though, so I don't have to keep on swapping and changing. Like,
It
but
is a nightmare sometimes.
Yeah.
It's easy,
yeah,
especially
but I'm looking
with-
forward to it. Definitely, I would like to go back to the houses that I went to last week, though. I would like to go back, knowing now that they could be actually in the family.
Yeah.
So those 2 houses we went to, I would like to go back to there. Like, I like them, definitely. They liked me every time I spoke. The K2 meet, I was just going crazy. I just need to get all the footage together so I can get them on YouTube.
Yeah, you need to get them up. As soon as you get them on your YouTube, we'll drop your channel.
I'll just send everything to you, and you can do it for us.
I've got a million things to do. I'm
Yeah.
way
I know.
but yeah, so I think that's about it for us.
Yeah.
So yeah, next Friday, guys, we'll be on 8 p.m. Marty show, and then obviously next Sunday we're going to be on Hefty TV doing Americans versus English. So
I make it sound like
I like that
battle.
how you put that.
Yeah. Actually, you gave me a good idea. We'll talk afterwards about some photos because I have a good idea for a thumbnail for that. I also want to thank everybody for watching in the comments. You guys are
Yeah.
awesome.
Thanks
Yeah,
very much.
yes,
100%.
guys.
massive
Thank you very
thank you
much.
to you
Thank
guys.
you.
A lot of people watching today.
And of course, Linda for being on. You're absolutely amazing, and you got some really awesome stories.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
And like you guys, we like I say, we
Yeah.
always say we may not put your comments on the screen, but we do read every single comment. And you guys are actually having a riot in there, aren't you?
Mhm.
Brilliant chat going there. It's been awesome. But guys, take care of yourself. Enjoy the rest of your week, and yeah,
Stay spooky.
So
Gotcha.
Matt's actually commented in there as well. Oh, something happened and I wasn't watching the live.
Yeah, he wasn't watching live. Yeah, I saw that. He'll catch it. It's okay.
Yeah, yeah, I saw that too. So can't see. Yeah, he said, "Oh, something happened." Was thing. See, that's what I was talking about. He probably played it like 10 minutes or more
Right.
before, because you could do that on
Right.
YouTube video.
Right.
So that he probably didn't click on the live button.
It's all right. We
That's
love
why it looked
that.
live to him.
Bless him. Yeah, thank you guys. Take care of yourselves, and we will see you next Friday. Catch
See
you later.
y'all later in my castle.
Bye bye.